Good morning, welcome to Tuesday's Indycar. My name's Gordon Ross. Today's subjects include Nicola Sturgeon's recent comments regarding Brexit, the Sunday Herald, do we actually need it, and the remarkable rise in the statistics that Indycar has seen in recent weeks. First of all, to the First Minister Nicola Sturgeon's comments about the European Union this week, and it's been quoted in several news sources this morning that Ms Sturgeon has warned that it looks very likely now that Britain will crash out of the European Union without any kind of trade deal whatsoever. It's now been over 600 days since the Brexit vote, and with 120 days left to go before Brexit, we're still no nearer any kind of agreement at all on what the UK's final business dealings will be with the European Union. How will we trade with the European Union after Brexit? What is the deal going to be? Problems remain with the problems of Northern Ireland and the Republic, with the chance of a hard border being erected across the lower part of the 6 counties again, simply because there is no viable method for controlling the trade across that border, which does not include physical border posts and checkpoints. The British government has said it thinks it can find a way of having a frictionless, invisible, non-existent border between the EU's western frontier and Northern Ireland, which is still controlled largely by the United Kingdom. The problem is that any kind of barrier across the border area between Northern Ireland, controlled by the United Kingdom, and Southern Ireland, which is the Republic, self-governing part of the EU, any erection of any kind of border post is a direct contravention of the Good Friday Agreement and could see a return to the problems of the 1970s, where Ireland is partitioned yet again because of British stupidity. That is a circle which I don't think the British can square, and that is one of the major stumbling blocks in the Brexit negotiations, because until the European Union is satisfied that Britain has solved this problem, they will not allow a trade deal to take place. The British government knew this and still carry on blithely believing in fairies that there's some magical way that they can square this circle. I don't believe it will happen. The other problem, I think, is going to be the status of European Union citizens, which it looked as if there was going to be a solution to until very recently, when the British government clarified their situation, which said that after a certain period, European Union workers who had migrated and were living in the United Kingdom would be fast-tracked with their applications to remain in the UK. Now, that isn't a guarantee that they would stay. It just says that their applications would be processed quickly. It's not a guarantee of anything. And if you add to that the proposal recently by Jeremy Hunt's department, the Health Secretary's department, that the United Kingdom would charge European Union medics working in the NHS £600 a year for their own medical treatment in the health industry which they work in, is frankly ridiculous, and I can't see the European Union wearing that one either. So I think Nicola Sturgeon's comments are right on the money, right on the mark. The British government is basically bumbling and stumbling along towards a hard Brexit. And a hard Brexit, for those of you who really don't know what it means that we leave the European Union with no trade deal at all on trading with Europe. And that would mean World Trade Organization tariffs, high taxes on imports and exports. It would mean tied up ports with 17 and 18 mile queues in all directions of trucks waiting to be checked at the border, have their loads checked over for customs and excise. Duty would need to be paid, warehouses would need to be built all over the place. It would be a catastrophe. Flights would no longer be able to fly in and out of Europe. There would be no flights to Europe. They would be grounded overnight. The actual fallout from this is just unthinkable, and yet that's where it seems to be heading at the moment. Anyway, I digress. The point is that the First Minister is right on the mark here. There is no sign from the British government that they have made any progress at all on solving any of these problems. And there's no sign from the European Union that they see any progress on the problems that they wanted the United Kingdom to solve before being allowed to negotiate a trade deal. So not only has there been no progress on the trade deal itself, there's not even been any progress on the basic things that you need to do in order to be allowed to negotiate a trade deal. We are no further forward than we were 2 years ago when the Brexit vote started and happened 600 days ago. We had no idea then what Brexit would be, and we still are no clearer. We do not know what is going to happen. All we do know is that in March next year, we leave the European Union and we have no way to trade with them other than the World Trade Organization rules, which state that there be large amounts of taxation and duties and tariffs to be paid on everything flowing in and out of the United Kingdom to Europe. And that is a danger, a clear present danger that the British government is just ignoring and pretending isn't there. They seem to think that they can magic up some kind of solution. And they're continuing, they say, to work on this deal that they are trying to put together with the Europeans. But whatever the deal is, it's never going to be as good as what we have at the moment, being in the European Union, being able to set the laws of the European Union, veto anything we don't like in the European Union, and still trade freely without any taxation on goods flowing in and out. So I fail to see where any kind of Brexit deal is going to be beneficial. The only very tiny advantage that England would get from it, because nobody else will get any advantage from it, the only tiny advantage is they might be able to stop the flow of European migrants and be able to just prevent people from coming into the country. But then again, they already have to do that with people from other countries. And the vast bulk of people coming to the UK don't come from Europe. Most of them come from other places to settle here, and they go through all the hoops of getting visas and so on, and it's a colossal pain in the ass. Anybody trying to immigrate into the UK will tell you the only place more difficult to get into is the United States. Okay, that leads me on to the next subject, which is the Sunday Herald. Those of you who have been watching things in the news will know that the new editor of the Sunday Herald, Miss Haggerty, I think her name is, I just may have got that wrong, it's either Hegarty or Haggerty, I think it's Haggerty. She has been in the news herself recently for all the wrong reasons after she outed the partner of Mary Black publicly online in a completely unnecessary, if I might say so, a completely unnecessary move. After being told to respect this person's privacy and the fact that it could destroy the relationship Mary Black has with her partner if this news was revealed, Haggerty goes ahead and blunders in with her size 10s and reveals the name of Miss Black's partner. Now, to me, that is not the action of somebody who supports the independence movement. It's not the action of a grown-up. It's not the action of a professional journalist. It's the action of a Fleet Street hack. It's the action of a tabloid journalist who just wants to get the headline out there, who doesn't give a rat's ass about people's lives or how they're affected by it. So Miss Haggerty has basically, she has soiled the nest in the last few days, and so many people in the independence movement who have supported the Sunday Herald because it was seen to be unbiased in terms of independence, and even very slightly pro-independence sometimes, but it was fair at least until she took over. And now she has started attacking the very people that the independence campaign have hoped that the Sunday Herald would at least treat fairly. The Sunday Herald is now, I think, dead, because 50% of the Scottish population would normally read the Sunday Herald because they viewed it as unbiased and perhaps even slightly in favour of independence. Now they will drop it like a hot potato. I expect that Ms Haggerty's actions are going to cost the newspaper its very existence. At least they're going to cost it half of its readership, because most of the people who supported independence only bought that newspaper because of its stance on independence. Now it's basically cut its own throat. Its new editor has effectively shot the newspaper in the head, not even just in the foot. And we are about to lose one of the only two newspapers in the whole of Scotland which had any sympathy for independence whatsoever. We leave us now just with the National. The National, although it is owned by the same company which owns the Glasgow Herald, as I understand it's the same news group, it is a newspaper which has autonomy. It has editorial autonomy to support whatever it likes, and it has chosen its identity to be pro-independence. And I predict that the people who have left and dropped the Sunday Herald will now migrate in greater numbers towards the National, if they haven't already. And I would ask the National's editors to consider now publishing a Sunday edition. The Sunday National should now be the next step. The Sunday Herald is obviously now going down the road of careerist journalism and media bias against independence. It cannot be trusted anymore, unfortunately. And so we need another Sunday paper. And so I think it's now time for the editors of the National to start looking at producing both a Sunday edition and incorporating maybe a Sunday colour supplement into that, because there's now a hole in the market which we could fill. Let's face it, nobody's irreplaceable, and to my mind, at least the Sunday Herald is eminently replaceable. Its sister paper, the Herald, is dreadful. The other papers in Scotland are even worse, particularly the Scotsman, which is so rabidly anti-Scottish that its entire name is a complete oxymoron. So that's my views today on what's happening in the media, but it seems to me that there's now an opportunity for the National to step in there with the Sunday edition, and I hope they get the message and do that. Which brings me to myself and my own small corner of the media world. And I've been challenged a number of times on social media by trolls and various other people online who say that I am not unbiased. And I said to them, well, that's true, I'm not unbiased. I've never claimed to be unbiased. And people have pointed out that somebody said, I just quote numbers and not facts. And I pointed out to them that the numbers of people in Scotland who support independence and the numbers attending rallies are facts. I just report those facts. And then he said, well, you just come out with numbers, but you don't come out with any convincing arguments for why we should vote for independence. I said, well, you go online and you will find thousands of articles and thousands of other news media outlets which will explain everything to you. And it just seems to me that people are expecting you to hand everything to them on a plate. When the internet is there, all you have to do if you want information more than I'm giving is Google it. All I am doing is telling you what's happened during the week that the mainstream media doesn't want to report and doesn't want to concentrate on. That's my job. Because of the job that I do in Indycar, and without blowing my trumpet too much, I've been checking the statistics. Now recently, Facebook altered the way my statistics are displayed, and instead of giving me the weekly figures, which they used to give, which were tremendous, it was really easy to read, they now only give me monthly figures for 28 days. And it's very hard to estimate what's going down well and what isn't. But I found a sneaky way around it. So I have now discovered what the weekly figures are. And I can quote things to you just now so that you know the facts of Indycar. The first fact is that the number of views of Indycar in the last 7 days have gone up 73%. The number of previews, that's stuff that appears when people do searches, has gone up 141%. The number of likes, that's people who've gone on the site and liked what they saw and clicked the button, up 305%. The reach, that's the number of people that who actually see my posts in any form at all, is up 126% to 90,000 people per week. Let's see, what else have we got? Recommendations, that's people who are recommending my site to others, up 33%. Engagement, that's the number of people who come online and reply or comment on the issues at hand, up 120%. The number of videos which are actually viewed every week directly, not indirectly, but actually directly, people asking for the videos, up 127% to 60,000 viewers per week. And the number of followers for the page has leapt by 310% in the last 7 days. Now, somebody said to me the other day that I was saying that the more trolls I seem to have, the more I regarded that as a badge of honour, as a success for the show. And he said, well, I don't see how people slagging you off in large numbers is an indication of your success. But I pointed out to him that the only time I get plastered with trolls is when I hit a nerve and when I get a very popular response to a subject. That's the time when the trolls all start to attack in large numbers. And this is what's been happening recently. Large numbers of trolls have been hitting posts, particularly ones most recently last week, where I was getting very high numbers of views, direct views, and suddenly I was getting dozens of fake accounts trolling me, or well-known trolls trying to troll me again, trying to get back onto the threads. It is a measure of the success of the show. If I wasn't a threat to the British nationalists, they wouldn't bother to try and troll the show in the first place. They would think I was a harmless loony who was just talking in his car and was having zero effect on anybody. But the figures I just quoted you for the show are facts. These are facts that Facebook has provided to me on the success of the show in the last 7 days. These are things which those doomsayers and these trolls cannot argue with. And the reason they can't argue with them is it's just simply because Indycar and the indie movement generally have now reached a kind of critical mass where everything is starting to explode exponentially. In other words, every time we do another show, every time we do another march, there are more people involved. The more people are converted, the more those converts convert other people. And this is why the British nationalists hate me so much and hate the independence movement so much. They can't control it. Even trolling my site just makes it more popular. Every time I'm attacked by trolls, at least 10 other people who support the show will come on there and defend the show and chase the trolls away. So it is a measure of success. And remember that if you've come to Indycar looking for unbiased opinion, you won't get it. You'll get facts at the beginning of the show. You'll get the news in factual terms, and that'll be it. But you will also get my views as a polemicist. I make no apologies for doing that. I'm quite honest when it comes to what I say. I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to be the BBC. And the success of Indycar is not built on pretending to be unbiased like the BBC does. The success of Indycar is based on giving facts at the beginning of the show, giving honest news based on fact-checked evidence, numbers which are available to everybody on the internet. And then me giving my own opinion after that as a polemicist. If you don't like that and you want to troll me, then that's up to you. If you don't think that's for you and you prefer to go to the BBC and hear the lies and the distortions, that's also up to you. But what I would advise you to do is, if you come on my show and you think that I am just spinning tales, go and check the facts that I mention online. You don't have to wait for somebody to hand it to you. That's the days of the BBC. Those of you who come on this show expecting me to just hand over detail after detail to you because you've asked for it, won't get it. You need to do that research yourself. Like every other person on the internet is a vast library of facts. A Google search for anything you want to know will find it within seconds. You don't even need to ask me. To fact check anything on the internet is one click away. So use the internet, find the facts, and don't come bleating to me looking for me to give you all these tiny incremental details before you support the show. That is the BBC mentality. Please, please give me the facts. I don't know anything. I'm helpless. I'm just sitting here watching my television. I need you to keep telling me things. Those days are gone. The days of the computer age are here, whether you like it or not. No matter how old you are, the internet is a huge library. Go out there and use it and stop making excuses for yourself about being ignorant of the facts. You have no excuse now. It's never been easier to find facts on everything. And I'm talking as somebody who's coming up towards his 60s now. And I have grown up gradually with the internet and learned how to use it and learned what a vast resource it is. So anybody coming over from the no side to the yes side, please remember that when you join the indie movement, it's a do-it-yourself organisation. It's not a spoon-feeding organisation. We expect you, like us, to go on the internet and search the facts out, and also to ask other people online for information themselves. There are lots of other people who use this social media platform and would be delighted to help you. So don't expect to be spoon-fed by all the programmes that occupy the internet, but do expect there to be a large amount of information and plenty of help from everybody else who uses social media platforms. They're always happy to help new people. So feel free to make your own research. If you disagree with me about anything on the show, I will try and answer any queries on the show, on the threads afterwards. If you're coming on to troll and call me names, just forget it, because you're going to get papped out. But the more of you who come on to try and troll the show, the better we know that it's doing. So do your worst, trolls. Come on, bring it on, right? The more of you, the better. The more I'm upsetting you trolls, the more I know I'm hitting the mark every time. And the more the trolls start to smear everybody and try to call us Nazis. That's the latest one. As soon as you say anything good about independence, you're a Nazi. And they've even got pictures of people waving to one another at rallies with the thing Nazi printed over the top or photoshopped onto it by these trolls. They really are quite pathetic. And you know they've lost the argument when they start to call you a Nazi. Calling people Nazis is the last resort in every political argument I've ever seen in the UK. And that's why I would never call the trolls the Nazis. They are Brit-Nats. They're British nationalists, and they just cannot accept that independence is a good thing. And that's a problem for them, but it's a problem that they're going to have to live with when we are independent. And they're just going to have to suck it up and get used to it, because we've had to suck it up and get used to their useless government since 2014 breaking all its promises. And they've said to us, just get over it. You voted no when you stayed in the UK. Well, we're going to vote yes next time, and they're going to have to get used to that. Anyway, I'll see you later. I've had a good rant today, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. But remember, what Nicola Sturgeon said is true. We are heading towards a hard Brexit. And also, the news media has changed, and Indycar, I'm delighted to say, has reached a sort of self-sustaining level now, where it just keeps growing each week. So thank you all for viewing, and thanks for supporting the show. I hope you keep doing that, and keep passing me news stories, and ask me to cover things that you think are important. I'll try and do that. Bye for now.